Hey everyone, early November right now, and this is a review on the variety Sweet Tart. I've had this grass Sweet Tart for the last 3 years or so. This is the first year I'm getting some fruits off it. I got probably about maybe over 2 dozen or 2 dozen fruits maybe on it. They were all kind of small like this. There was some that's a little bit larger, but the reason why they're small because I kind of just left them as clusters. Like they tend to fruit in clusters. You could thin them out and you get much more bigger single fruits. But I like the cluster. It was kind of nicer to have a bunch of small fruits and kind of give them away, especially to friends and family that has not tasted sweet tart before. Sweet Tart is one of the better growers in California. I wouldn't call it the most vigorous out of everything I've grown, but it's up there. It's I would call it a vigorous growing variety. I mean, I've done some grafts of it where I grafted Sweet Tart all at the same times with some other what's supposed to be a vigorous variety, and Sweet Tart at, seem to outperform all of them in terms of growth, right? So it does grow pretty well. It is not completely carefree in terms of like you just leave it alone, you get fruit set. I have not been able to get fruit set from kind of that hands-off approach or one or two spraying, light spraying. I have to kind of spray at least like a month straight, every 7 to 10 days, and then I get fruit set. So it's not can't completely neglect it or with light spraying, but just a 3-4 weeks of consistent spraying and you get fruit set. That's my opinion of it and what I kind of notice in my area. So that's this year's the first year I got fruit set on it. So I kind of picked it, showed you guys all this. This one's a bit more firmer one. This one's was recently picked. This was picked a while ago. This one's a nice one that kind of showed blushed on it, but lots of them I picked was kind of like this solid green, and then as they ripen, they kind of develop this nice yellowing to it, right? Nice yellowing to it. Looks like it looks like even when I picked it green, it seems to still be kind of ripening unevenly. So I'm not too sure. Like this end part always seems to be green. Let's see. All right, well, let's go ahead and do this taste test. I'm gonna cut this one. Here we go. Sweet Tart always has a nice kind of orangey flesh to it. Like the longer you let it sit on your counter to ripen, it goes from like a yellow to an orange. Sample. This one is very sweet. It lost a lot of its tart notes to it. More on the sweet side right now. So what Sweet Tart is known for is has a very strong sweet note and a very strong tart note, just like the name says. This is kind of like more, I call it like an Indo-Chinese flavor, just kind of wrapped up in those two categories. Has a mild resin near the skin, not unpleasant or anything like that. It's just kind of like a mango resin, most like a green mango resin. It's not piney, it's not Indian, it's not any of that. Sweet Tart is usually ranked in a lot of folks' kind of top three, and I totally get what I like more about Sweet Tart compared to some of the other Chinese is I think the texture on this Sweet Tart is much more better. I kind of like this texture better. It's much more softer and closer to some of the Indian mangoes I know of in terms of texture. Very good, very sweet. Let me try another one. See if I cut into this. Maybe let's see. This might be too early, but we'll see. Oh, oh, there you go. This one's a little might be too early because of this green spot there, but everything else on the shoulder seems to be right. If you guys can see how's the coloring on this, right? How deep orange it gets as the longer you let it sit on the counter. And let's see how much tart notes is in this. I like this one better. Even though I thought this might be like, it was kind of hard to push this. Like if you guys could see, let me try to push it, right? But it wasn't easy. So that's a bit interesting. I mean, it seems to have a firmer, but I mean, the texture kind of melts a lot better than some of the other kind of Asian mangoes I had in the past. So that's interesting. See if I can squeeze this. Yeah. But this one has a nice sweet tart note to it. This is what people kind of think about as thinking about candy, right? Like a candy that has like strong sweetness and strong tartness note to it. I definitely like this a lot more. Tartness reminds me of some of the tartness I get from a lot of the Zill hybrids that has like peach cobbler has that tartness. The only thing this doesn't have is there's a tartness, but there's not a zest, right? So it's definitely, there's no definite like citrus zest on this. There's a tartness that's on the same level as citrus, right? Or some of those citrus fruit, but definitely no zest on it. Very good, guys. So looking at these two, some folks might like this really much more high sugar, very minimal tartness to it. This one on the right, you can see how orange it got. And some folks might like this much stronger tart sweetness balance. You know, for me, I like this at this stage, even though it looks still a bit more too yellow compared to this much more orangey look. It's much, in my opinion, much more better. Like that's kind of up my alley in terms of flavor, right? So the good thing about sweet tart is like another good thing is like it has a long harvest window from my understanding. So you can harvest the fruits. You know, you got a long window of picking for the fruits, and I think I noticed that to be true, because I even picked a sweet tart that was like completely green. It was completely green, right? Even the seed cavity was like the seed husk was soft. I let that thing sit on my counter for like a month, and I don't know how it was possible that it turned into a deep orange like this. But when I ate it, it was like a mild melon, right? The surprising thing was that it was even edible, right? But it was still like a mild melon, kind of very, very mild melon notes. But it developed like this deep orange color, even though the seed husk was like just kind of soft and flimsy. It's not even hard. So it seems to have a very long window of picking, and even a long window of ripening on the counter, right? You could let it sit in the counter, and you could eat it at this stage, right? Look at this. I mean, I was feeling this. It just felt a little bit too firm for me. I wasn't too sure. But then this one that felt a little bit soft to me, in my opinion, I thought it was overripe. So not overripe in terms of like, I mean, something like this, like, you know, it depends on people's taste, but like, I like it this one. I already know, like, if I gave this to my wife or my mom, they would like definitely be going for this orange one and not this stronger tart one, right? So it just depends on taste, right? I prefer this kind of stronger tart sweetness balance. Some folks might lean more to like the sweetness on it, and I don't have to say much. I already know For example, my wife and mother would be picking this one as the winner. Alright guys, that's a review of Sweet Tart. First time I got to harvest it from my fruit tree. It was a great year. It was I like growing Sweet Tart for the ability to kind of just like get these bunches of fruit. It grows well. I handed out quite a few fruits to people to try for the first time, and yeah, everyone seemed to have enjoyed Sweet Tart in one version or the other. So, alright guys, that's my review of Sweet Tart. Thanks everyone. Till next time.